Biggest misconception about being a content creator?
That you just point and shoot and that's all it is. I think there's a lot behind the scenes.
We might laugh, we might learn, we might be your games with peace.
What's up, guys? Today on the pod, we're chatting with Brittany Isenhour. You might know her from her 4 seasons in the NWSL with the Orlando Pride and Angel City, or you might even know her as one of the coolest, funniest soccer content creators on social media. Whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram, Brit creates some of the most relatable content for soccer girls, and we are such big fans of hers. We talked about making the pivot from professional soccer to content creation, how she deals with confidence on and off the field, and some of the crazy adventures she's had. It was an awesome conversation. Check it out. Well, Britt, thank you so much for coming on. For our listeners who maybe, I'm sure most of them know you from, TikTok and Instagram, but can you tell them a little bit about your background?
Yeah, my name is Brittany Isenhour. Grew up playing soccer my whole life. Played in the NWSL for the Orlando Pride for 2 years and then Angel City. And during my time playing, started posting on social media, and now that's kind of my full-time job. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Did you start doing funny content, like humorous content, while you were still playing professionally?
Yeah, it actually started, I'd say, obviously TikTok took off around like 2020. Everybody was on their phones and it just kind of was right place, right time, and started posting when I was playing. At that time, it was all like trending sounds, right? So you just scroll, find a trending sound, apply it to soccer, which was easy, and then post it. So I just kind of posted for fun back then and never imagined it would grow into something like this. But I'm sure you guys feel the same way. You guys were like the OGs. I was always inspired by your stuff.
Yeah, well, you are killing it on TikTok now. You've cracked the code of whatever you're supposed to be doing on there. When did you feel like this was an actual like viable option for like career or job moving forward? Like, was there a moment where you're like, oh wow, like I'm starting to really get the hang of this and it's coming super natural, and you're like not having to pretend to like fit a sound or fit a trend. You're like actually being yourself, which is the coolest part about it, and it makes it much more enjoyable that way.
Yeah, I mean, it just evolved so much over time. Like I said, when I started posting, I never imagined it was going to be a job or anything that I was going to take super serious, but I just found it as a super fun creative outlet. I've always been someone who, likes creative things, and I felt like TikTok was super easy and a way to express myself. When I was playing, I didn't realize it at first, but I had a friend who was an Olympic hurdler. And she said, the landscape is kind of changing where it's not just the Michael Jordans anymore that are getting, deals. It's people who have a social media presence are able to kind of make a living off of it. And she said, as an Olympian, that's how she made her living. And at the time I was just, like I said, posting for fun, but also trying to post stuff that I would have wanted to see when I was a younger kid, stuff that would have helped me. And so that was the main driver. But when I kind of heard that, I was like, wow, that would be amazing, because at the time I was, fighting for a contract at the Orlando Pride, and I was coaching after training. So I'd go to training in the morning, coach in the afternoon, and it was just, honestly, especially in Florida, a little unsustainable, like being out in the heat all day and then trying to perform at a high level at training in the morning. So I'm like, if I took this seriously, like maybe it could grow into some brand partnerships. And that's when it became a little bit more sustainable. And then I think just over time, slowly, it kind of became my main source of income, even though I 100% looked at soccer as my full-time job and my full focus. But when I decided I was ready to step away from playing professionally, I was like, well, this is working, and who knows if it's going to keep working if I'm not playing. I'm like, maybe people only are interested because I played professional soccer. And so I started to slowly pivot it when I stopped, but I started focusing more on how can I serve that younger version of myself? How can I serve that version of myself today who's like, oh my gosh, what do I do when I step away from the game I've played my whole life? And I actually feel like it, instead of falling off, it grew so much because I wasn't just focused on, I'm just gonna share my life and what's going on. I was actually trying to help other people. And so that's kind of just where it is now. It's just been kind of a process along the way. Yeah.
Was that like that pivot, was that scary to go from pro athlete to no longer being one, or did this help because you're like, okay, I know what I'm going to be doing afterwards? Because that is something scary. I feel like a lot of people, whether you're high school or college or pro, it's like to go from that being your identity to being like, what is my next chapter, I feel like that could be a little bit daunting.
For sure. I want to say it's like I almost didn't think through it. It just kind of it fell into my lap in a way. Like, obviously, I had worked really hard, both at my soccer career, but also at the content piece. And when I decided, I didn't want to necessarily play soccer as a job anymore, but I still loved soccer, I was like, well, this is working right now, so let's try it for a year. And where I moved in Colorado, I was like, okay, if this doesn't work, I could go coach or I could go do whatever. And just tried it out for a year. And like I said, it kind of fell into my lap rather than saying, okay, this is what I'm going to do next. But I also think, to your point of helping the transition, I think it for sure has. It's almost like I haven't fully transitioned out of soccer, because I actually think I'm involved in the soccer world maybe even more than when I was playing. I'm like going to more games than ever, watching more soccer than ever. Before, it was just playing and keeping your head above water with the traveling. And now it's like I'm still involved in soccer, even though I'm not playing full time. So I think maybe I haven't even fully transitioned. Maybe it'll hit me later, but
No, it for sure helps that transition. It helps you feel connected to the game still. It helps retirement or your season ending like not feel like an abrupt stop. It's really cool. And I see a lot of things where like current players and even like professional players are being encouraged to like start a business or like dabble in other interests that they have, not to take away from what they're doing currently. And I will say, preface this with saying it is a shame that female athletes have to be dabbling in other jobs while they're doing their career. However, helping that discovery of learning what you're interested in that doesn't involve a ball directly at your feet on a field is really important. And when you pour so much of yourself into that sport, it can end and then you have literally no idea what else you like.
There's so much. I heard so much of like, you got to have your one focus. And I feel like I 100% did. But when I was playing, it's like this was such an outlet. And then when it started to become a business, I was super excited about that. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do in college, but I ended up studying business because I'm like, oh, something entrepreneurial is what I want to end up doing. And so it kind of gave me that outlet outside of soccer. If I had a bad day, I could go home and work on the business or content and focus on that. But I don't think it took away from my focus or my drive when I was playing.
Especially as if it served as an outlet, like you said, like it's almost like it can be a healthy way of doing a non-playing activity. It's really cool.
I feel like we have very similar like backstories. Like same thing for us, Alana. It was an outlet to get through those really hard times.
Yeah, we were just venting.
It wasn't like a chore. It was just fun. Which like I feel like that's like the hope of content creation is like you don't want it to end up being a chore. Like you want to still like enjoy making it, which can be hard. So do you have any tips for any of our listeners who maybe want to get into content creation?
Well, I just feel like currently it evolves so quickly. Like it's always evolved very fast. But like I was saying, when I started posting, it was all trending sounds, lip syncing. I never did dancing, although it was.
Yeah, we tried not to dabble.
No dancing. But I feel like it was almost easier back then to just hop on and post whatever without a lot of thought. And now, like you said, I love it because it's more creative. It's more personalized, but also that takes a whole lot more thought. Like what's a piece of content that's completely out of nowhere with no inspiration. I think it's a lot different. So I guess my advice to anyone starting is just it's like being an athlete. I feel like you have to just put it out there and try again and fail. And it's hard because just like in soccer, like if you fail and you lose a game, you lost and you have the numbers and the data to show that you didn't succeed. And I think it's the same on social media. It's like, oof, that got 3 views and I just spent 5 hours on it. Like, is this even worth it? But I think if you can kind of grind through that time and just learn what works, it's more valuable to just put yourself out there again and again and again and learn what works than just to hope and pray for the viral video first. Because you probably won't learn as much that way. So
speaking of confidence, I'd love to know, like, social media wise and playing wise, did you always have high confidence? Was one area easier than the other, or is it like an ebb and flow?
Confidence is definitely something I've struggled with my whole career. And with social media, it feels different. I feel like because I was a soccer player my whole life and for a very long time made that my entire identity, it felt like so much more was riding on a success in soccer than it was on social media, because I'm just like, oh, it's videos, I'm putting it out there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But I do feel like as time progressed, I kind of learned, especially, you know, playing my first professional game, I was so nervous for it, because I was like, do I even belong here? Can I play? Can I hang with these girls? Like, I practice with them, but who knows what a game is going to be like. I was so nervous for that first game. And I just kind of learned that day, everyone feels the fear or anxiety, especially if it's something you care so much about, but overcoming that fear and just being brave and putting yourself out there, I feel like that, I don't know if it's a strength of mine or something that I've built over time, but I also feel like that translates into social media. I think, you know, a thing that can keep people back if they're wanting to post and put themselves out there is the fear of judgment. And so I feel like I still feel that fear. I still care if my video does well or flops. But I just try to remember that lesson of, okay, it's okay to feel the fear, but you just be brave and put yourself out there. And I feel like the best things come from the other side of that fear.
I love that. I just read like a quote where it's like, embarrassment is an under-practiced emotion. I'm probably quoting that wrong. But I think that is like, that goes right in line with that. If you can desensitize yourself to what it feels like to feel embarrassed or stupid in a moment and realize that that's just a fleeting feeling, like you'll create so much more, you'll do so much more because you won't be so fixated on the outcome of how it will be perceived, which I love.
When I was playing too, I think like you guys were making content while you were playing as well. Like something that it was probably a me problem, but one of the most embarrassing things was I'd walk into the stadium and people are like, TikTok girl. And I'm like, oh, I've been playing soccer my entire life and I worked really hard to get here and now I'm TikTok girl. And they meant it in like the nicest way. But like that was even an embarrassment piece of, I'm like, okay, I'm putting this content out every, most of it's stupid and it's comedy, but like my teammates see it, coaches maybe see it, all this stuff. So getting over that embarrassment was also hard, but it also led me into the career and the life that I get to have today. And so it's like I had to go back every single day into like what matters to me. Like, yes, maybe you could perceive me as someone who just likes to post on TikTok and that's, you know, all I care about, but it's like deep down I know I've worked so hard at my career. All my teammates know, like, I show up on time, I work super hard. Soccer is my number one priority. And it's like if the people around me know what my priorities are and I know what my priorities are and like I see the future and I enjoy this, like that's also helped me get over any perceptions that I even struggled with.
That is all that matters. Like, and stop. Like, the people you care about understand and know your motivations and the things that are important to you. Like, that is literally all that matters. But that's really funny that you brought that up, because when we used to play in college, the away teams would come with like signs and videos and like play things out loud and like
they played on like speakers,
put them on speakers. Oh my god, it was rough.
Yeah,
amazing.
Were any of your teammates like, did anyone really like get into it and do it with you?
Ooh, I would say Allie Riley has always been good with content, as you know. She's always been down for it.
We have to give props to Tristan. Like, we need to give him his snaps right now, because he is so funny in your videos. He's fully committed to the bit. He has, in the beginning, I could tell, like, there were some videos where you're like, this is my non-soccer playing husband. Like, he's going to kick a ball. And, like, now he's, like, full coach outfit. He's yelling at you. Has it been a good, like, bonding activity for you guys? Or the opposite? Do you guys get frustrated with each other? Because, like, oh, my God, there are some days when Shannon and I will have to film something that's, like, scripted. And we will be on like our 30th take and we keep messing up and we're just like, we need to go home.
Come on.
It's so funny. It's both. So it's been the best journey having. He's such a good sport. The funny thing is, like, Tristan's personality is he could never have social media, like never see anyone. Like, would never do this in his life. So it's hilarious to like have him involved, but he's still the best sport with it. And, you know, you get to see his personality too. I think he's more of a shy person. And so like people getting to see his personality, because it's just kind of with me and a little camera sneaks behind us. has been great. And then he actually just started doing this full time this year together. So we've worked like 100% full time together, which people were like, how do you do that? And we're like, well, he's my best friend. Like, we get to just hang out and make funny videos and life's good. So, but working together, every single, especially if it's like an ad or scripted thing, like he'll say.
It's the worst. That's the hardest.
It's so easy to get frustrated. And like if you're filming outside, as you guys know, if like there's wind or like people are coming out to the field, like there's so many uncontrollables. So yeah, it can be pretty frustrating sometimes. But at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making like a comedy video about a turf burn. Like I need to chill out. So
yeah. I don't know like how long, like when you started, if there was even like the little mics, but when we started, there was like no mics. So we'd be like standing with umbrellas and jackets, like trying to not let the wind just like ruin every take. And it was like, oh my God. And then you couldn't hear it. So you have to like run inside, listen to it on the camera, run back out. But
wow. Yeah, that's commitment. Now I feel like mics are better. I just like upgraded mine because I'm like, the wind here in Colorado is brutal. That's like,
oh yeah, I bet. Do you film on a camera or on your phone?
Pretty much 100% on my phone. Yeah. Do you guys film with cameras or?
Phone.
Yeah.
The phone's just easier, I feel like, and you still get good content. I know you talked about like stats and everything, like you can read the numbers, but like setting that aside, how do you define success now versus like when you were playing?
I jumped into this right away because it was already something I was doing. I didn't really have time to step away from the game and figure out what I wanted next in life. It was kind of like, oh, this is working. You have a full-blown business. Like, let's go. And it picked up pretty quick. I feel like I'm still kind of figuring out what success means. I think what's the most rewarding, that's what I try to really focus on, especially when I'm having weeks where just like nothing's hitting or you know, you're just being on camera every day is also very hard. Like just
smiling that long is so hard. Like,
yes,
like it's exhausting.
Yeah.
But
acting is tough. Like, and I feel like in a way as an athlete, you know, you kind of have to put on a face come game time and whatever's going on at home or however you feel, you just kind of have to play. And so I kind of feel like it's the same with content. It's like, okay, you got to make videos today. You've got to act. You got to be happy. So that piece can be hard, but I try to go back to, okay, like how can I serve that younger version of myself? How can I find success outside of the numbers? But they're also important too. So it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. What's been your like most exciting moment since starting this chapter of your career? Like is there one event or opportunity or something that like you were just like, holy crap, this is incredible?
Yeah, I feel like this last year was wild. It went from like 0 to 100, really, with like the Club World Cup, I think. Just more people looking for soccer creators. I think we were on the road, I want to say like a couple times a month, every month this year. I always wanted to run my own business, but I never knew what it would be. I definitely could have never guessed it would just be me posting on social media about soccer, but kind of fulfilling that dream that I had, but I didn't really know how it was going to come to life has been really cool. But I think recently going to the World Cup draw in DC was pretty wild. Just knowing, you know, that tournament's coming and yeah, all the names and faces that were there. I was like, what am I doing here? This is crazy, but
cool.
That's really cool. Those moments are cool. Do you have any advice for an athlete or anyone who's looking to start over or start at something new?
I feel like I would say when I stopped playing soccer, I was kind of ready. It like felt right before I stopped, I felt the pull to step into something new, but it was so scary because I'm like, I could just keep playing for years and doing this, but I know it's not something that I want to do. It doesn't necessarily align with my long-term goals that I have now, but like 12-year-old Brittany would be shaking me like, what are you doing? You're like you're accomplishing our dream and you want to step away. So I think that fear held me back, but I was able to kind of just be like, okay, we've got to rip off the Band-Aid. But I feel like looking back at all the lessons and tools that soccer gave me and being thankful for them rather than, you know, just looking back and being like, oh, I played soccer, but that's just my chapter and it's over. Like, I feel like being able to mix them and like find a new love for the game in a different way, like watching and going to games, experiencing it in a way that I never have, like letting myself still love the game even though it's not something I do anymore, has really fulfilling these last couple of years. So
I think that's such a good way of describing it. You don't have to say goodbye to soccer. You're just like you're seeing soccer in a different way. You're doing it differently, which is nice. And I think that's something a lot of our listeners probably are afraid of. But like, you can always be involved in the game in some way, whether you're still a fan of it, whether you're playing, in a women's league on Thursday nights where it takes me 3 days to recover. Just like there's so many ways to enjoy the game, which is cool. Alana, anything more before we roll into rapid fire?
No, let's do it.
All right. Clean sheet or viral post? Which would you rather?
I guess now viral post, but clean sheet a couple of years ago.
Are you an early morning person or a late night?
Early morning.
Are you filming? When do you like to film the most?
So in the summer, I like to do right when the sun rises. So it's like 6 a.m. because you get that peak sunlight, not the crazy shadows. So yeah, pretty early.
Wow. Favorite goalie you grew up watching?
Hope Solo. Had a giant poster behind my bed my whole life growing up of Hope Solo.
That's awesome.
What is one word to describe your pro soccer era?
A journey.
And what about one word to describe your creator era?
Ooh, exciting.
What is more pressure for you, a penalty kick or posting something really vulnerable?
I think a penalty kick.
Honestly, that's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, terrible.
What would be your dream brand collab?
I think going to any World Cup game in the U.S. this year would be unreal.
Mm-hmm. Biggest misconception about being a content creator?
That you just point and shoot and that's all it is. I think there's a lot behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
What is the next bucket list item you want to check off your list?
Random, but I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. The flight seems really intimidating, but that's like number one on my travel bucket list.
Also on my bucket list. Gotta get there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So we missed the World Cup.
Oh no, you dropped the ball.
I know. We'll go another time. Well, Britt, thank you so much for coming on again. It's so cool to see like everything that you've done and how just like your channel is just like exploded, and we just love everything that you've been doing. So thanks for coming on, and we really appreciate it. And hopefully we get to see you at an event soon. Hopefully we can make some content together. That'd be really fun.
I know, I'm like, how have we not really been at more events together yet? Right now, it will be a bunch this year.
100%. And you guys were, I think my very first, I didn't even know what content was. I barely watched YouTube, but you guys were like probably the first YouTube video I ever watched. So I say you had nowhere. My Hope Solo. You guys were my Hope Solo. I need a big poster for behind my bed.
That was so great to talk to Britt. She's so real and authentic about her journey, and I feel like we had so much in common, talking about filming on our phones, having our family film with us, dealing with the wind and what time of day we're going to film. It's just things that you don't understand unless you create content. So it was nice to swap stories. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching, listening, and be sure to like us, follow us, and let us know who we should talk to next. Bye.
Soccer girls, you know we got some problems. So tune on in, know where we talking how to solve them. We might laugh, we might learn, we might be your king.